I'm in a Bailey Unicorn and I've been having trouble with my fridge. It's a standard 3-way Dometic fridge and it wouldn't run on 240 volt. I'm in a campground and plugged into mains power 240 volts, and yet my fridge was basically displaying an error, and I've managed to solve the problem, so I thought I'd make this video to show you guys the issue that I found. So the fridge at the moment, you can select your different energy settings, 240 gas or 12 volts. So basically what was happening was it wasn't running, and this was flashing, and also this light was flashing red. Interestingly, when I switched it across to gas, it still wouldn't light. So it wouldn't run on 240 or on gas. It was both times this red light was flashing. These lights weren't changing, just this light was flashing and the power source flashing. With gas, sometimes when that's flashing, you can press that button a few times and that triggers the igniter until eventually it lights, but that didn't work. So what I did was I switched off the fridge, and then I plugged my car into the Caravan, so that gives it a supply to be able to run the fridge on 12 volt. Then I came back and switched the fridge on and triggered it over to run off 12 volt, and so essentially when I did that, the fridge actually ran no problem on 12 volt. It's obviously showing an error now because it's not plugged into my car right at this minute. So then when I unplugged it from the car and switched it back to 240, again I had that error where that light was flashing and this was flashing. So I found that my fridge wasn't faulty because it would run on 12 volt. It was something to do with the energy source, that it wouldn't run on 240 and gas. Okay, so then what I realized, I had a suspicion. It's a busy weekend here at this campground in New Zealand. There's a lot of people here on power. And my Caravan is equipped with this LD heating system. So my LD heating system, it's not running on gas at the moment. Gas is switched off. It's on 2 kilowatt electricity. So I wondered whether perhaps my Caravan wasn't getting enough power to it, even though it's plugged in on a 16 amp line at the campground. I switched off the LD heating. Then I came back, and when I powered up the fridge, actually it worked fine. And then I switched it across to gas, and that little noise was the igniter, and it worked fine. And then, so what I suspected actually was there was not enough power getting supplied to the Caravan to run the LD heating system and the fridge simultaneously. So now that that fridge was running, when I turned the heating back on, what I found was if the fridge was on 240 volts and I turned the heating back on, it created that same error again where the fridge on 240 volt wouldn't have enough electricity. But if I turned the heating off, started the fridge on gas, I could then run the LD heating and the fridge on gas, but I had to light the fridge on gas before turning the heating on. So what I identified is at this particular campground, when there's lots and lots of people staying here and pretty much every site is full and everyone's on power and it's cold, so everyone's got their heaters running, what I found was that essentially there was not enough power to power everything. So the workaround in this case was to switch off the heating, light the fridge on gas, and then with the fridge on gas I could use my heating on electricity, or I could use my heating on gas and fridge on electricity, but I couldn't run both. So obviously that's not an ideal situation for a campground, but I'm going to be staying here for another couple of days and I think that's a adequate workaround. So I just wanted to share that advice for you if anybody out there is having a problem when their fridge won't run on both 240 and gas, but it would run on 12 volt. Okay, hopefully you guys find that helpful.